Yes.
Amen.
It's good. Happy God is in charge, and we're not. Good news. Hey, we have. I think it's on, but I'll check and see. Yeah.
You have to plug in the XLR.
So we do have one special announcement this morning. We have an engagement in the house, and right in the back are Ryan and Haley, engaged to be married. So exciting. Good way to start off the new year. Getting married. We okay, Kyle, or do I need to use it? You got it. Thank you. Appreciate that. And most of you won't know this young man, but there's a young man here that goes way back in the day when Pastor Greg was here ministering years ago, and grew up around here, and he's just a cool kid, and we really like him. And he's also engaged to be married, and so anyway, we won't make you get up and shout and dance around or anything. But Robert, good to see you, everybody. We love you, man. One of our friends. So you had a good week. Winter's here. Feels like. Yeah. My bones are starting. No, just kidding. Whatever, people say that. Bones are starting to cold. Anyway, and my parents, for those of you that know my folks, a lot of you do. I just picked them up the other day. They went on a cruise in Mexico. I'm like, geez. And it was kind of funny because she called me about a week before. And she said, hey, you think you can take us to the airport next week? I said, sure. So what are you doing? So we're going on a cruise. And I'm like, wow, that was kind of last minute, And so we were telling, Jimmy and I were telling Addie, because, when it's like between us and my parents and my sister-in-law over in Belfair, we're always going on each other's vacations, and just kind of doing vacations together. And so we were telling Abby about that, and I said, man, that was kind of last minute. I mean, she didn't even say anything to us, and and Abby goes, you think maybe she had a reason for that? Somebody's always going, hey, we'll come. So anyway, but had a great time. Now. We also had a cool thing this week for those of you who were here for baptism, and you saw you met a bunch of really cool people getting baptized. Two of those people were Cody and Tana. I should have told you while Cody was in the tank. Cody's a writer. Maybe we did say something about that, but the other night down at the Esquire Coffee Company, Cody got a whole bunch of his material, some of his novels and a short story and a few other things. And actually had kind of a big public reading down at the Esquire Coffee Company. And so we got in there and packed it all out and made him read to us. And so that was pretty cool. He's getting stuff published and everything. So just so you know what's going on, there's people around you who are really gifted and talented. All of us are gifted and talented in one way. Not all of us can write a story, and not all initiative or singing. I understand that. We're all gifted in different ways. So anyway, I think I better just get into the word before I get so we've jumped into Joshua. Last week we jumped into Joshua. If you like, here's the thing about history. Who likes history? Who likes history stuff? All right. Who hates history? Okay. Yeah. It's mostly the kids who are in school right now in a history class who have a bummer for a teacher. History is all about the teacher. You got to have a good teacher for history. And so to make it kind of fun, history is about the people and what's going on and the leaders and who's doing what and all that stuff. So history I've always loved history. All I have to say, last week, we got into this. We talked about the history setting up the book of Joshua. I mean, we went back, last week, we went back thousands of years. We went all the way back to Abraham getting called by God when he was in Iraq, the area around Iraq, and how God called him, and said, I've got this land for you, and how the nation grew. And last week, we kind of left it with the nation of Israel, 2 million people strong, on the border of this land that God had promised them. He promised them this land thousands of years ago to Abraham. He said, this land, I'm going to give you this land. And he gave them the borders. And we'll read about the borders today. And he said, this is going to be your land. And the thing about this is in this land, we got this covenant relationship. I'm going to be your God, and you're going to be my people. And we're going to get this thing set up so you are going to prosper. This is a land, poetically, he said, this is a land flowing with milk and honey. It's just an amazing place. And so I'm going to set this thing up. You guys are going to go in there. You're going to live. You're going to work. You're going to create. You're going to prosper. Your families are going to prosper. And the nations of the world will go, wow, look at these people. Who is the God of these people? And so that's the way it was set up. And they got there after about, this group of people got there after about 40 years of wandering in the desert. So you remember, those are the same people who were in Egypt, now almost the same people, who were in Egypt under slavery for 400 years. And last week we talked about the parallels of how being in slavery in Egypt for 400 years, here they are, they're making bricks out of, in the straw, and they just have to, and they're getting just driven, and these are God's people. And God delivers them. He hears the cry, he sends Moses raises them, and he delivers them out of Egypt. And it's the bondage of slavery. And we talked out of Romans 6. It says, you were slaves to sin. You were slaves to sin, just like the nation of Israel. My people were slaves under the Egyptian rulers, under the pharaohs. So he delivered them out of there miraculously. You know the stories, all the plagues, and how Pharaoh would just not let them. Just picture the enemy. I'm not going to let them go. And Pharaoh, finally God just displays his power, so radically and so transformed that Pharaoh lets them go, and they're released. He has to let them go, and they're released, and they're free, and they pass through listen, remember the symbolism here. They pass through the sea, through the Red Sea. Remember the water parts, and we related that when we talked about a few weeks ago about baptism. We used the same scripture. They were baptized into Moses into the sea. And so their past was behind them as they went through the sea. And their past, their sin, and the enemy, and all that was buried in the waters of the sea. And there they are. And they came out, God says, I want you to come out to worship me. He said, tell Pharaoh, let my people go that they may go to the mountain and worship me. And set up this relationship. So that was the point. I want them to come. And so here they are, they're out, they're delivered. And it's just like you and me. We get saved, and now what? We step across the line of faith and say, I'm going to trust Christ with my life. I'm going to trust Jesus with my life. And now what? So here they are. They're out in the middle of the Sinai, the desert there, the wilderness, and they come to the Mount Sinai, and they meet with God, and Moses meets with God. He goes up on the mountain.